Alex had it all. His startup was thriving, his family was loving, and his future was bright. But one fateful day, everything came crashing down. His company went bankrupt, leaving him with nothing but a pile of debt and a shattered dream. The world around him seemed to be moving forward while he was stuck in a never-ending cycle of despair. As he struggled to come to terms with his failure, Alex began to notice something peculiar. He wasn't alone. Millions of people around the world had experienced similar setbacks, yet many had emerged stronger and more resilient as a result. There was the single mother who lost her job and went on to start a successful online business. The entrepreneur who failed in his first venture but went on to create a revolutionary new product. The athlete who suffered a career-ending injury but found new purpose in coaching and mentoring. At first, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of envy towards these individuals. How did they bounce back from such devastating setbacks? What was their secret? But as he dug deeper, he began to realize that their success wasn't about being superhuman or having some innate ability to overcome adversity. It was simply about perspective. They had learned to see failure not as an end, but as a chance to reboot and try again. For Alex, this epiphany was a turning point. He started to see the world through new eyes, recognizing that every crash landing held an opportunity for growth and transformation. He began to question his own narrative, wondering what he could have done differently and what he could learn from his mistakes. As he looked back on his failed startup, he realized that it wasn't a failure at all, but a stepping stone to something greater. What if failure wasn't something to fear, but something to learn from? He asked himself. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that this was a question that applied to so many areas of life. Not just business, but relationships, health, and personal growth. Every setback, every rejection, every failed attempt held a secret lesson waiting to be uncovered. As Alex began to explore this new perspective, he felt a sense of excitement and curiosity. He realized that he had been living life with a fixed mindset, viewing failure as something to be avoided at all costs. But what if he could flip that script? What if he could see failure as a chance to learn, to adapt, and to evolve? The possibilities were endless, and Alex couldn't wait to see what lay ahead. But for now, he was left with a single question. What would he do next? Would he continue down the path of conventional success, or would he take a chance on the unknown? Only time would tell, but one thing was certain. Alex would never look at failure the same way again. As Alex wandered through the desolate landscape of his shattered dreams, he couldn't shake off the feeling that he was staring into the abyss. The darkness that had been lurking within him for years had finally consumed him whole. Self-doubt, fear, and a crippling sense of inadequacy had held him back from truly pursuing his passions. The bankruptcy of his company was just a symptom of a deeper issue, a crisis of identity that threatened to engulf him whole. Alex's conversations with loved ones only served to further illuminate the depth of his inner turmoil. They saw the pain and the struggle in his eyes, but they also saw a glimmer of hope. With their support, Alex began to peel away the layers of his ego, exposing the vulnerabilities that had been hiding beneath. He started to confront the harsh realities of his own limitations, and in doing so, he began to see that failure was not a reflection of his worth as a person. It was a hard-won realization, one that came after countless hours of self-reflection and soul-searching. But as Alex looked back on the wreckage of his past, he saw it for what it was, a chance to start anew. He began to develop a new sense of purpose and meaning, one that was no longer tied to the success or failure of a single venture. He started to explore new passions and interests, and in doing so, he discovered a sense of freedom he had never known before. Have you ever felt like you're not good enough? Like the weight of your failures is crushing you, and you're not sure how to move forward? What will Alex discover about himself next? Will he find a way to reconcile his past with his newfound sense of purpose, or will he continue to struggle with the demons that have haunted him for so long? As Alex walked through the city streets, the vibrant sounds and colors of the world around him began to stir a newfound sense of wonder. He had been lost in a sea of darkness for so long, but now, with each step, he felt the weight of his failure slowly lifting. His eyes, once clouded by self-doubt, began to see the world with fresh eyes that discovered hidden beauty in every corner. The taste of defeat still lingered, but it had transformed into a flavor, a reminder of the lessons he'd learned and the growth he'd endured. With each passing day, Alex felt his heart filling with a sense of purpose he thought was lost forever. He started to explore new hobbies, reconnecting with old friends and discovering a world of possibility he never knew existed. And as he looked out at the city, Alex realized that every setback, every failure, held a hidden gift waiting to be uncovered. His journey from the ashes of his shattered dreams to a life reborn was just beginning, and it was one he was eager to share with the world.